This is the Lutheran Education Podcast, a bi-weekly podcast where we explore issues, trends, and events surrounding Christian education with your hosts, Richard Schumacher, Senior Director of Operations at LSEM, and Dr. Tracy Salgado, Director of Special Education at LSEM.
Welcome to the Lutheran Education Podcast, brought to you by Lutheran Special Education Ministries. I am your host today. My name is Richard Schumacher. I'm the Senior Director of Operations for LSEM, and today is going to be kind of a unique episode of the podcast, as we have a guest that we'll speak to and talk about different things, but today we're going to talk about our sponsor, which is Lutheran Special Education Ministries, the ministry that I work for, and just give you an opportunity to learn a little bit about us, who we are, where we've been, what we do, and how all of these things work here at LSEM. So just get started with a little bit of the history of LSEM. We're an organization that was founded way back in 1873 here in the city of Detroit. As it goes, there was a group of pastors who would meet regularly at that time down at historic Trinity in downtown Detroit. J.A. Hughley was the pastor down there. You may know Pastor Hughley. He hailed from a number of different places here in the state of Michigan back in the day. So if you're a member at St. Lawrence, Frankenmuth, or Holy Cross Saginaw, his picture's up on the wall because he's one of their former pastors. He's also the second Michigan District President. So very prominent Lutheran pastor back in the 1800s here in the state of Michigan. He was the senior pastor at Historic Trinity at the time that the group was meeting there, and they were dealing with an issue here in the Metro Detroit area of orphans. Apparently, due to a combination of the Civil War and a pandemic, there were a great number of orphans in the city, and the churches were struggling to deal with this orphan problem that they had. So they decided to get together and establish an organization, an orphanage, that would help to deal with these students. And so this organization was formed, and they called their first pastor, which was the Reverend George Speckhard, who was serving up in Seaboing, Michigan at the time, to come down and to be the headmaster of the orphanage. So as the story goes, Speckhart was doing a lot of ministry up in the Thumb area and had extended over to where he was working with two young girls from the Frankenmuth area who were both hearing impaired. And so when word got out that Reverend Speckhart was moving downstate to serve at this newly found orphanage, the families of these two girls actually approached him and asked if he would consider taking the two girls with him to live in the orphanage so that way they could continue their Lutheran education that he was providing to them. He agreed to that, and the two girls traveled with him and became, in effect, orphans, so to speak, as they continued to attend classes under the Reverend Speckhart as part of the orphanage. Over the course of that first year, the leaders in Detroit noticed this unique ministry to these deaf students and decided that they had stumbled upon a greater opportunity. What if there were more families with students who had hearing impairments who wanted to have a Lutheran education? And if Reverend Speckhard was able to provide it for these two, could he not provide it for more? So very quickly, they decided that they were going to change the thrust of the ministry here in Detroit. The orphans who were in the orphanage in Detroit were transported over to a Lutheran orphanage in Chicago, and the Lutheran School for the Deaf opened up in the city of Detroit. And so that ministry began after, again, just the observation of an opportunity leading to the desire to create a new ministry. And an exciting ministry that it was. And for the next 100+ years, that ministry operated in the city of Detroit, many of those years on Detroit's east side over on Nevada Street. To this day, there's many people who can recall back in their childhood going to various events at the deaf school. Again, a large campus, some very beautiful grounds behind the building. In time, the building was housing any number of kids from any number of states and countries around the world coming to Detroit to be able to live and to be able to attend a Lutheran school. So it's a heritage that we're very, very proud of. In 1975, IDEA was passed, and it mainstreamed students with different learning disabilities back into their own classrooms. So the need for specialized schools for sight impaired students or hearing impaired students became lessened. And so at that time, under the leadership of the Reverend Rodney Rynearson, our board decided that they were going to continue to serve, but not serving kids in one building in the city of Detroit, but serving those students in schools all around the country. And so the seeds for Lutheran Special Education Ministries were born. You see, by saying that the students needed to be mainstreamed, that was a great positive because all these families who were sending their kids cross town, cross state, cross country to attend school no longer needed to. Their local schools were now given the mandate to provide educational services. But those local schools hadn't done it before, and were woefully ill-equipped to be able to provide those services. They just simply didn't have the resources, the knowledge, or the people to be able to do it. So this opportunity that came about as a result of the legislation provided the foundation on which LSEM was able to be built. And so over time, fewer and fewer students were coming to live on campus in Detroit, and more teachers were being hired into partnerships working with Lutheran schools, first in the city of Detroit and then throughout Southeast Michigan, the state of Michigan, and then eventually throughout the region and across the country. And it really has blossomed into what LSEM now is today. So, just a brief history of who we are, where we came from, and the roots upon which we've grown this ministry over the course of the last 153 years. Today, LSEM partners with Christian schools really anywhere in the world. First of all, Christian schools is critically important. We want to make sure that as a ministry, we are doing all that we can to allow families who wish to have their children in a Christ-centered environment be able to do so and not have academic issues be a hindrance to that. So the school does need to have that Christian focus. In fact, the old Lutheran School for the Deaf, which was purchased by a charter school many years ago now, was in partnership with us for many years. But over the course of time, that charter school has become less focused on its Christian values on which it was started, has become more secular to the point where we no longer are able to partner with them because, again, we want to make sure that the work we're doing is professing Christ crucified. So that is a critically important piece to us. So working in those Christian schools is important. But again, we're able to provide services really just about anywhere. And that's in large part due to LSEM's flexibility. You see, we are not a cookie cutter model of one size fits most and will work in that environment and that environment only. We recognize that within the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, and for that matter, in Christian schools, no matter the denomination, schools come in large and small sizes. So we can work in schools that have hundreds of students and are looking for a full-time position or multiple full-time people to serve the needs that they have. But we're also very proud of the extremely part-time schools that we have. The smallest amount of FTE that a school can partner with us to receive is called a 0.1. So it's 1/10 of a week or a half a day per week. So we do have some schools where the budget and the caseload requires that they only have a teacher there Monday mornings. And through that, they are working with the students and the teaching staff to help meet the needs that they have in those small schools. So whether the enrollment is 30 students or 330 students, LSEM is able to help meet the needs of those students who are working in that school. What's great about the partnerships that we have with our schools is they're tailored to the unique and individual needs of the school. Now, all of our teachers are going to be state certified teachers. They're going to have special education training. In most cases, they've got that full endorsement or they've got that master's degree in special education. In some cases, we will hire master teachers who've got the knowledge and the ability, but just don't have the degree. Of course, in those cases, the school is working with us on that. It's typically a case where the school has a teacher in place who has the skills, just doesn't have the degree, and they really want to see him or her working in that capacity. So in those cases, when that happens, we will vet the teacher, gauge their knowledge of the special education process, documentation, all those different things, and then train them up as needed, provide opportunities for them to take coursework, to brush up on their skills. And if they are looking for that master's degree, we can even assist them in tuition to go ahead and get that degree so they've got the skill set necessary to be able to work effectively in the resource room in their schools. But we want to make sure that we're meeting the needs wherever the teacher's at, wherever the school is at, to be able to accommodate the students that are there. In all of our schools, students who come in with a diagnosis are going to be given priority in terms of our caseloads. But one of the great things about LSEM is that we are not required to work with students who only have a diagnosed learning disability. You've always seen it in so many cases. Students will go through that battery of tests, and when the report comes back, the meeting takes place. They just fell short of qualifying for services. And in many cases, there's little to nothing that can be done. At LSCM, we're very proud to be able to say that that's not the case. We are able to work with any student in the building that we've identified as having a need, and if we have caseload time available, we can make that work. Again, priority is going to those students who have the more significant or the diagnosis, but our caseloads across the country are also filled with students who do not qualify for learning disability support, but there's a clear and obvious need that's there that can be addressed, and the student can benefit from spending time with our teacher or in our resource rooms. So it's not a closed door by any means. If the numbers come back, we'll be able to take that data and still be able to put together an education plan for that student that will benefit them and hopefully help them to be able to grow. One misnomer about our programs is that our teachers are merely tutors, working with students to help get homework completed. And that's just not the case. Our teachers, again, are working with students to try and build skills. And so if the student is struggling in reading or if they're struggling in math, we're going to do work with them to help build up their skills so that they can become better, more independent learners on their own, not just simply get tonight's homework assignment done so that way they don't have to worry about it at home, and then help them again with tomorrow's homework assignment tomorrow. We'll do some work in terms of test reading and other things to assist if the student needs additional time to complete a test. Our rooms will oftentimes provide it, or a quieter environment, least restrictive environment. Again, we can provide those sorts of things as well. But to lump our teachers into the category of being a tutor isn't true, because that's just simply not the work that our teachers are looking to do. LSCM has a great ability to be able to provide services beyond just the teacher to our schools as well. Again, that teacher working at the building can provide pull-out or push-in academic support depending on the need of the student and depending upon the philosophy of the teachers and the principal there at the school. That's why we say none of our partnerships look alike, because every program is going to be slightly different in terms of what those needs are, what the strengths of our teacher are, and then how to best approach and meet the needs for the students. So it's really an important thing to be able to say that, because it allows us again to be able to look at the school itself, determine its unique needs, and then find the best path for us to be able to provide services to them in a way that meets the need most effectively. And it gives the school say so in what they're looking to do as well. Our teacher is designed to be the expert in the building on all matters of special education, but this isn't to the exclusion of listening to the other experts in the building who are working with that student, the principal, the classroom teacher, and the parents of the student as well. So it's definitely a partnership that we're able to provide to our schools in that capacity. Beyond just the teacher, LSEM also provides a great deal of benefits to the schools in terms of the resources that are provided. Once we've identified a teacher and have him or her in place in a school, that teacher is then able to draw from LSEM's library of resources to be able to use those materials to assist in the work that they're doing in their classrooms. We provide the teachers with a wide array of testing materials and assessments to be able to establish numbers and baselines to assist in the MTSS process and to get a good idea of progress that the students are making throughout the course of each year that they're in program. And so we're very happy to be able to provide those resources and the training on how to utilize those resources to our teachers for use in our schools. Additionally, we provide materials for the teachers to use in the course of instruction with the students. So they're able to submit requisitions for curricula, for manipulatives, for other materials, both physical materials to use in the classroom, as well as a good series of online materials as well. And again, those are all at the teacher's disposal to be able to use. If the teacher has a need, but they're not sure which materials would work best, that's where our support team, our Dr. Tracy Salgado, Mindy English come in to be able to help offer suggestions and ideas for different curricula that can be used for the teachers to be able to meet the needs that they're seeing there too. So in addition to getting the materials to use, they've also got a couple of folks there who they can turn to for expert advice and opinions. And even beyond our leadership team, all of our teachers have the ability to network and connect with dozens of other special educators working in LSEM schools across the country. So it provides them a great wealth of opportunities to be able to have professional conversations with a staff and network that is diverse, unique, and spread out throughout the course of the country. Additionally, professional development is something that we're able to provide not only to our own teachers, but to the teachers within the classrooms and the schools that we're serving. Starting with our own teachers, we provide our teachers with stipends to be able to do professional development on their own. Additionally, we will provide our teachers with anywhere from, say, 4 to 6 professional development webinars over the course of the year that they're able to log into and then interact and learn from folks within the LSM community, and then also speakers from the local, state, and national level to talk about topics that are relevant to the work that we do and can help to assist our teachers in constantly growing and adding to their toolbox of things that they're using in their classrooms. We also provide professional development to the schools that we partner with. So at the beginning of the school year, at the end of the school year, when staff meetings are happening and those staffs are looking for speakers, whether they're in person or whether they're virtual, LSEM is able to provide a wide array of topics on special education that can be utilized by teachers. And we'll do these for staffs as small as 3, 4 people, or we can do these at large conferences featuring hundreds, if not thousands, of teachers in attendance, and have done so over the course of time. For our partner schools, these services are absolutely free of charge. It's part of the partnership, it's part of the relationship that we have. For those schools that aren't in partnership, there is also an opportunity, depending on the district that you're in, to be able to receive those services for free, thanks to a number of partnerships that we have with these various districts. Currently, we have partnerships with the Michigan district, the Central Illinois district, and the North Wisconsin district. So if you're a teacher or an administrator serving in one of those districts and your school does not have an LSEM partnership, you do have an LSEM partnership thanks to your district ed exec and the district being able to fund and support that. So what that means for you if you're in one of those situations is you have the ability to contact us, send us an email, drop us a phone call, and get advice on how to serve students in your school that have special needs. get requests for us to even come on site and do some observations, do some assessments, make some recommendations to assist you again in some of those processes, and to have professional development for your staff, for a group of schools in your area, for even for that matter, even for the entire district, if you've got a teachers conference, etc. And all of that is at no additional cost because of the partnership that we have in those three districts. So again, if that's you and you're in that case and you know that you're looking for some additional support, but the budget does not allow a direct partnership, that gives you an opportunity to be able to utilize that. And now is a great time to be thinking about that because we're starting to see some of our end of the year dates filling up for professional development and even some of our start of the 26-27 school year dates filling up. So if that's something that you or your school might be interested in, reach out to us because those dates are filling fast and we want to make sure that if that's something that would benefit your school, that you have an opportunity to be able to provide that to your teachers. At this time, we're going to take a quick break, kind of go through our little commercial for LSEM, even though you're more or less getting a very lengthy commercial about LSEM through my conversation. But I'll wrap up my thoughts in a little bit after we take this break. You're listening to the Lutheran Education Podcast, brought to you by Lutheran Special Education Ministries.
Thank you for listening. If you like what you hear today, please consider sharing our podcast with friends and colleagues in the industry. Again, thank you for listening to the Lutheran Education Podcast.
And welcome back to the Lutheran Education Podcast, brought to you by Lutheran Special Education Ministries. Again, I'm your host and your guest today, Richard Schumacher with Lutheran Special Education Ministries, talking about LSEM and the values and the benefits that come from a partnership with us. So again, we're able to provide these services to Christian schools anywhere in the country, really anywhere in the world. How do we go about doing this? What's the method for us to be able to enter into a partnership? Well, schools that are interested in a partnership will reach out and we'll have initial conversations to get an idea of the need. So we'll talk about the anticipated caseload. If the school already has an independent special education teacher who's working there for them, we might look at some of the information that they can provide. If not, then we can also come on site and do an assessment, take a look at the caseloads, look at the work and the records that are there to help establish an idea of what that need would be. So that way, as the principal and the board and the other decision makers are looking into that, they're best able to provide a good estimate for a start and then help to grow the program from there. Cost is always a question when it comes to having any sort of a program like this. And yes, there are fixed costs. We do work diligently to keep those costs at a minimum, simply because we understand the need for budgetary frugalness and being a good stewardship, etc. And again, as a ministry, we feel very compelled to want to make sure that we're supporting our churches and schools by providing the best possible service at the lowest possible cost. But again, we're hiring folks, and so there's salaries and benefits and all those different things that come into it, the materials, the whole package of things that we're doing. So there are costs that are in place that we do have to pass along as part of the partnership. That said, we do have a great number of donors who help to fund and support the work that we do. What's really great about a lot of these donors is that while many of them come from places where we have a partnership and these people have seen or received the benefits of having an LSEM program and feel very strongly about that, they also come in many cases from people who aren't in congregations with schools, who aren't personally experienced with working with LSEM, but they recognize the need. They see the importance because while maybe their children did not have learning needs to address, others do. And so they recognize that the hours that other parents are putting into helping their kids at night with learning and the additional support that's necessary for some students to be able to learn at their peak takes the extra resources to be able to do it. And so they have also committed to supporting that work, and we're very, very thankful for them. Additionally, we've continued to work to find third-party revenue streams for our schools. In many places, this is beginning to expand, as new legislation comes into effect. There's more government funding available. ESAs have become a very big thing, SGOs, uh, places and opportunities for people to donate, to invest into the academic needs of students, or to receive state and federal funds to be able to support that. Title I funds also are a very valuable resource that many of our schools are able to utilize and help to use to help subsidize their LSEM programs. In all of these cases, they are unique relationships. Again, like our programs, there's no one size that fits all. Well, there's no one set of rules that kind of govern all of these different programs and policies across the country. And so we work very hard to build relationships with the public schools where our schools are going to for Title I funds, or with the different state and local leaders who are responsible for managing some of these funds that come into the school. But we'll work with our partner schools and these entities to provide whatever documentation is needed, to track hours, to log, students and the work that they're doing, in an attempt to make sure that any funds that a school wishes to utilize toward an LCM program can be utilized so that school can maximize the benefits that come from those donations or from those funds that are made available to them. So we're very, very willing to work with schools to help find those funds. One new and exciting thing that LSEM is doing, we've had this partnership now for just about a year or so, but there's an organization called DAST that their whole purpose is to create opportunities for schools to learn more about some of the funds that are available to them. DAST as an organization will provide a calculator, and LSCM now has access to this calculator, where we can work with a school and get a pretty good estimate of some of the different sources where funding may be available to the school for special education services. Then the school has the ability to partner with LSCM utilizing those services, and if they want, to partner with DAST to be able to utilize their services. They will take care of the management of applying for the loans, the grants, the paperwork, managing all of that process. They charge a fee for that, but it allows schools that maybe don't have the bandwidth to be able to do all that extra paperwork and legwork to have someone do it for them and still be able to use a good portion of those funds that they have available to them toward the benefit of their school. So it's an exciting partnership. We're going to be exploring it more, and in the coming weeks and months, really reaching out to principals and educational leaders who are interested in LSCM programming but struggling to find the budgetary information to be able to learn about that, to see if that's an avenue that might be able to provide assistance for them. I also want to just again take this opportunity to thank our Lutheran Women in Mission, the LWML. They have been a phenomenal supporter of Lutheran Special Education Ministries at the national and the district levels, even the regional levels, the zones where we've gone and presented on the work that we're doing. These women are phenomenal. If you're a Lutheran and you don't know that, I don't know where you've been. Everybody knows how great the LWML has been and how much support they've provided to our church. But LSM is definitely a part of that, and we're so very thankful for them to be able to work with them to help provide for our students. So, if you're listening and you're interested in more information, easiest way to connect with us is to reach out. You can go to our website, which is www.luthsped, luthsped.org, luthsped.org, or you can give us a call. Our telephone number is area code 248-419-3390. And again, either way you reach out, just tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're calling from, or where you're emailing from, and what sort of information you're looking for. And either myself or one of our team members will reach out and begin those initial conversations on how that partnership will work. Once a partnership is reached, then we, on our end, will begin the process of searching for a candidate to teach in that position. We work with you, and we provide a lot of services, in a lot of places to kind of cast a wide net to bring in teachers. Then we go through that interview and vetting process to make sure that they are a good fit for us and a good fit for you and your school as well. But again, if you've got any questions or are seeking additional information on how this process works and how you might be able to benefit from an LSEM partnership, even if you already have a partner or you already have a teacher working independently in your building, LSEM has consultation partnerships that you can utilize as well. So that way you can continue to keep your teacher in place, but allow your teacher to reap some of the benefits that come from a relationship with LSEM. So lots of options for schools wherever they're at in their needs to be able to partner with us and to benefit from our expertise, from our people, and from our years of service to the Lutheran Church in this capacity. That just about does it as far as our LSEM commercial for this episode. Again, I pray that you're having a great school year, that as we move through this Lenten season, that again, the focus is on our Savior and all that He has done for us, because in no time it's going to be Easter, and then after that it's a sprint to the end of the school year, and then we're planning for 26-27. So if there's anything that we can assist you with as you finish up this school year, we're more than happy to do so. Or if you're starting to plan ahead to next school year or the year after that and wanting to bring some additional support to your students, feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to have those conversations and to assist in any way that we can. So on behalf of everyone here at LSEM, thank you for your time and for listening to my message here today, and I look forward to speaking to many of you as you reach out to us. Again, my name is Richard Schumacher, and this is the Lutheran Education Podcast, brought to you by Lutheran Special Education Ministries.
Thank you for listening. We'll meet you again in 2 weeks for the Lutheran Education Podcast. For more information about LSEM, go to our website at luthsped.org. You can follow us on X by going to www.x.com/LSEM1873 or on Facebook at facebook.com/LSEM1873. If you're on Instagram, you can find us by going to @LSEM1873. We'll meet you again in 2 weeks for the Lutheran Education Podcast. Did you enjoy today's podcast? Want to help get the word out? Please leave us a review on the app you're using to listen today.